Good evening, one and all. Happy Sunday if you're into all that. Me personally, I don't care. But welcome to the Devil's Advocate podcast for an interesting preview show. I don't think either of us are really in the mood to review yesterday, although I might look the most cheerful out of the two, as Jonathan will be with us very soon. His laptop decided to hate him, so he plugged into the Matrix, updating himself. But when you look at who's the most happiest on the stream, it's not Nathan.
No.
Just saying, it's not Nathan. It's actually me. I'm not the happiest, and that's because I've been brutalising things backstage. But we are going to get into obviously the Bayern preview. We've got a lot to discuss tonight. We've got an off-topic conversation that we all sort of had backstage. Before we get into that, I am your host Reese from the Weekly Steel Chair. Do like, share, and subscribe to this channel, Devil's Advocate. Check out on Twitter as well for any and all channel updates. But of course, great panel with me. Obviously, I said Jonathan will be here soon, but I got Nathan, I got Dara. How are we doing, boys?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
All good here, mate. Looking forward to this.
He's in his Paul Heyman phase. He's just chilling back beside the chief. He's in.
Wise man.
I'm the wise
exactly.
man.
He is my wise. He is my wise man with a beard. So we're going to get in that. I feel kind of out of touch. Beard, fucked. But we're going to get into that. And Julio, all I'm going to say is, I don't know how I look 5 years younger, but I'll take it. 5 years younger, I'm back being 21. I've noticed that there's quite a lot of comments. We'll come to that tonight, so we'll definitely run with it. But I think I'm just going to ask the most obvious question in the world, lads, and be as brutal as you want. I've got no way of stopping you. Put it that way, and I'm not going to. But where's your heads at after yesterday? How you doing?
I'll start by saying absolutely depressed. The attitude towards the club is quite frankly on the floor, as most of our attitudes to it is at this point. I'm trying to be positive because I'm going to the Bayern game on Tuesday. I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to have that good positive mindset like I normally take to every Man United game that I go to. But after a deflating game like that, you just kind of have to question, how can you be positive about it? Because if you're getting, like, call it a spade, we got pumped by Bournemouth. If you're getting pumped by Bournemouth like that at home, at Old Trafford, you kind of have to question what is in store for us this week across the two games. Whatever about the fact we're previewing Bayern, you kind of have to look ahead, even past Liverpool as well. You kind of have to say, what's going to happen? You just don't know what's going to come, like.
No, I think that's a good way to sum up, and I think that's fair. Honestly, Jonathan's now checked out of the Matrix, so he's now in his Agent Smith phase. We'll see how he's getting on. We'll ask him in a second. But Nathan, how are you doing?
Yeah, all good, mate. I'll be honest. I didn't watch the game. I saw the result. I haven't seen the highlights. Don't know what the goals were. I decided to spend my Saturday with my family instead of be disappointed and depressed for the entire day. So I'm completely. I'm bored of it now. I'm bored of watching them. I'm bored of hearing about it. This is the only thing I look forward to about United at the moment, is coming on here and talking to you lot. But apart from that, the actual club itself, I'm just fed up with it. I'm not. Everything about it, I'm just completely numb to it.
Do you feel like you're? I know a few fans have seen this on social media. I barely interact with any football fan at the moment, but I certainly go for it in this sense. But like, do you feel like you're checking out?
No, I don't think I could ever check out.
You feel like you're checking
I know
out
what you
season?
mean. Yeah, I've sort of, it's like in the midweek we had such a good midweek game. We beat Chelsea and we actually played really well. It was the best we played for a while, and then it's just like, all right, we'll take that into Saturday. Oh wait, no, we won't. We'll just completely bottle it and throw it all away completely. So it's just such a kick in the teeth when you think, oh, we're going to take a step forward here, and it doesn't happen. It's just disappointment after disappointment.
No, of course, and obviously, like, it is hard for any football fan to just admit they're checking out. But there are some fans that are saying, actually, we are checking out because we're already used to the disappointment. It's already over. You know what I mean? Like, people already said, well, that's the season over. And I'm like, I get why people are saying it, but I couldn't physically get to that stage
No,
unless we were out of everything and we weren't shown anything in particular, then I would completely understand. But I don't really get to that stage. Jonathan, it's good to see that the Matrix has taken you from a freezing stage. How are you doing? And just like I was asking the lads, is where are you at mentally after the fact that, yeah, Chelsea game could have been a blessing in disguise, even though we won the game, but it went backfired on us. But the Bournemouth game and all that, like, where's your head at, mate? The Matrix has taken him back already. See?
Again? Really?
The Matrix has him. He's went and done a cipher.
Obviously, look where he's after freeze again. You could just tell he's there. Like, I was so sick of watching them play yesterday.
Pretty much. Tell you what we'll do. Once Jonathan comes back, we'll just run through some quick fire comments and stuff. So Alex has left a fair few saying Kane wishes he stayed at Spurs. I don't think so, because they would be nowhere near where they are in terms of league position. Kane wanted the United move over playing for Tommy Tickle's frauds. Quite disgusting that you're calling him Tommy Tickle. I don't know what you're into, mate, but I'm not going to ask. Alex then says Kane just wants a cup. Spurs ruined his career. I mean, if you end of the day, you're in football to make money, and you're in football to win things. That's all I'm going to say. Could he? Possibly. 100%. Yep. Not wrong.
Like, with the whole, to make a comment on the whole Anthony situation, like, fair enough. Ten Hag wants him badly to show that he wanted to bring his players in and do what he wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, Ajax were having us in a chokehold, quite frankly, on the price tag, because they just threw it out there, and we tried lowballing them, but they said no, until you reach that, we're going to keep saying the same number.
That's where we're at, and that's the problem with football clubs. If you think you can lowball another one and get away with it, you're sadly mistaken. Hell, obviously, good evening from Norway. She says, amazing we're still sixth. Everyone around us are just as inconsistent as we are, bar Villa. Villa are the best team in the league right now.
Honestly, yeah, it's amazing. Like, because I saw a tweet earlier and it resonated because of the whole talk of, let's say, if we had a different structure upstairs, would something be different? And you kind of have to think, well, Emery failed at Arsenal because of the poor structure upstairs there. He did an okay job at Villarreal. Obviously, I don't follow enough of it to know what it's like. And then he does a brilliant job at Villa. So obviously the structure there must be working in his favour, that he's able to do what he does between recruitment, between on the pitch, off the pitch. Amazing, really.
Fuck you, Keane.
Keane, come on, man.
Fuck you, you bastard. I keep asking the same question about the starting 11. Why do they keep the right players on the bench to play other players out of position?
It's an interesting one, actually, yeah. Because I suppose that kind of goes back to the start of the season where you're playing Bruno on the right when you had, this is before Sancho was banished to the Shadow Realm, and you had and then you had Anthony in the midst of his investigation, and then you're there like Facu Pelestri is right there, but yet you're playing Bruno on the right wing.
This is the problem I have with managers, and this thing I've got with these tactical fans on social media that are like proper weird when they're like, oh, we should play players in inverted positions, like play fucking right backs at left back because that's all we've got. And I'm like, I hate this inverted tactical bollocks. Just play the players in the proper position, play the style you want to fucking play, and just get on with it.
Yeah, no, I suppose on that note, I know he's been inconsistent himself, but Dallo has the ability to play left back, right back,
and he's still scared left back.
Like, I had faith in him when you consider he did an okay job at Milan at left back.
No. He didn't even do an average job. He was pish. I'm sorry. He was crap. Like, I could have done better.
I could have been looking at roasted the glasses because I've always been a fan of Dallo from the moment he came into the club. That could just be me.
Yep, 100%. Yeah, for sure. Nathan, just want to get your thoughts on that as well. Just like playing players out of their position. For me, I think it's just managers just thinking they're more intelligent than they actually are.
It's just managers overthinking it, trying to play tactical mind games when it just clearly doesn't work. It's just a waste of everybody's time. Why sign players for positions and then not use them in those positions? and having bench warm in the seats on the bench is just completely waste of time. I'll be honest, and yeah, it does wind me up.
Yeah,
Exactly the same way it winds us all up.
no,
Just
for
play
sure.
the players in the right positions and stop fucking around. Might actually get some results that way.
Exactly. Absolutely. One for you, Dara.
Keane, yes, indeed,
going
I am
Bayern?
going. I'm going. I'm flying over first thing Tuesday morning from Cork, and first flight back on the Wednesday. Even though I told work I could do the half day, they said nope, to take the whole day. Great. So hopefully, and I'm fingers crossed. Hopefully, we can get something out of it, but it all depends. Like as we all saw ourselves, Bayern went and lost 5-1 to is it Frankfurt? So they're going to be wanting to they're going to be coming out all guns blazing as well. So I don't see anything past it for us, unfortunately. If we can somehow get it to go our way and somehow drop into Europa League, would it be the worst thing, lads? Do you think, or would it? Or would you rather know Europe, or would you rather go back into the Europa League?
I'd rather drop out completely. I can't be asked.
The problem is, and this is the annoying thing, is it is a trophy. Like, it's a trophy to be won and all that, and I will never say we shouldn't be trying to win anything that's available to us, but two issues I've got. One, we don't have this. We clearly don't have the squad for it, and two, these players don't deserve to win a single trophy anyway, because they don't work for
it. Valid point.
Like, you should deserve to win trophies if you actually work for it. This lot don't. This lot don't. I mean, I bet even Jadon Sancho playing FIFA hasn't won a single fucking trophy either. He's used to getting pumped on Ultimate Team, so it'd be the same circumstance. Vicky saying it's a good note that Casemiro's grass training. Yeah, I mean that's true. Stu looking for his divas, but he says football is accepting about where you are at any given time. You win, you lose, you draw. Period. Move on to the next game. Exactly. Except this lot don't. Keane's immediately saying people laugh at my Villa predictions. Insert Nigel Farage meme.
You all laugh to me.
To be fair, and I stand by this, Unai Emery's done a better job than what Eddie Howe's done at Newcastle.
Ooh.
By a landslide.
See, I suppose you have to look at it in the aspect that people would say Howe's done a better job at Newcastle on the simple basis. No, you can correct me if I'm wrong here. Has he had the majority of the squad that he inherited from when the Saudi takeover happened? Or barred the likes of Tonali and Bruno Guimaraes? Yeah, so
apart from those additions, it was pretty much the rest of his squad. But honest to God, I genuinely think that Unai Emery has done so much better with that squad, while still adding to it, than Eddie Howe's done. And it's not saying Eddie Howe's a bad manager. I'm not saying that Eddie Howe's a bad manager. He's not. He's actually a decent manager. It's the fact that Unai Emery has done so much better. Julio, behave yourself. Gerrard couldn't manage death row, let alone manage a football team. Like, the guy's pish. Unai Emery's literally come in and done better than Eddie Howe. And people are like, oh, but Eddie Howe's had money. I was like, he's had money. But Unai Emery's had less money, got his team more organised, playing better football, and they've actually done better. So, facts, Julio, facts. Like, just keep Eddie Howe out your pocket, mate. But we move on. Question for you, though, Dara, is Trev's asking, what part of Northern Ireland are you from?
I was just going to say I took note of that myself, and I'm very offended. I'm from the very southern of Ireland in Cork. So
you've managed to thrive. Aston Villa can win this when Arsenal ball. I think Aston Villa are going to win the FA Cup. But that's just one. I don't think they'll win the Europa League if that's what they're in. They are in the Europa League. I don't think they'll win the Europa League, even though Emery's a specialist.
I was going to say, I think you might be referring to the actual league, considering they say, is it their second or third?
Yeah, I think they'll win the FA Cup. Whatever European competition they're in, they'll get. Actually, no, it's the Conference League. Sorry, they will get far enough in that. I don't see them getting winning it, but I think you wouldn't write them off. But I think Villa will win the FA Cup. I don't think we'll do well at all in the FA Cup at all. We'll beat fucking
Wigan, yeah.
We'll beat Wigan comfortably, but after that, that's when it all goes downhill.
You see, I actually had this conversation with someone on the other day when the draw came out. Someone who actually follows the proper football or the League 1, League 2, they actually said, you realise Wigan are actually on a good winning run in League 1. I goes, no, I did not. Because I was thinking, oh, well, it's only Wigan, be comfortable. Yes, Keane, I just see that there. Evan Ferguson to beat Liverpool in the Europa League final. We will be there.
Does Evan Ferguson beat Liverpool at Brighton? Because that's unlikely. But could Evan
Imagine the
Ferguson win
scenes.
a different club? Potentially. He's back. He's back.
Hey.
He took the red pill and he's back into the matrix. He had to plug in. He's here. And also a little cheeky one at you, Nathan, as well. You look lively.
He's just happy to be here.
I think that's a good shout. Alex is saying Villa will get top 4. I mean, top 4 in an FA Cup is literally possible for them. I still think they've got a chance of winning a trophy. They're good enough. But
on the momentum they're on, I wouldn't put it past them.
They've got the best home record in the league. Like, they're just that good. Like, it's scary good. So that's another reason why I said that Unai Emery's better than Eddie Howe, because he can't do that. But anyway, we're just gonna. Okay. Pish. Conversation over. Just had to get that one in there. Okay. Anyway, here's a question I wanted to ask you, lads. Though, when you look at our season going into the second half, we've got potentially a goalkeeper that's going to the African Cup of Nations. Thank fuck. We've got a defence that's all over the place. We've got a midfield that is incredibly inconsistent, and an attack that likes to turn up when it wants to. Second half of the season, who do you think needs to stay in the team? Like, from the starting 11 perspective, you can say none of them if you want. I'm completely fine with that. And who do you think needs to be immediately dropped to the bench and stay there for quite some time, unless they can play themselves into the team? So who would you think on that? I'll start with you, Jonathan. What are you thinking?
In terms of keeping the starting 11, I think someone like Rasmus Højlund, it's been a bit frustrating watching him been put into the team, taken out of the team, put in the team. I understand he had a bit of a stress issue at the start of the year, which is a kind of a cumulative injury that comes with playing a lot of matches, and to have to mind that, I understand that, but he's 20 years of age. If you can't play 3 games a week as a professional footballer at 20 years of age, then you're probably not cut out for that, this level of sport, you know. But I would like to see him stay in the starting 11 and get a consistent run now in the second half of the season. I think Garnacho has to stay in the starting 11, and probably Kobe Mainoo. I'd like to see him get a run now in the midfield, because there's fuck all else happening in that midfield department at the minute. So,
agreed.
But that's about it, really. I fucking dropped the rest of them. I just can't stand them. I've never felt as disconnected from a Manchester United team in my entire life supporting them, and I include Bruno Fernandes in that as well. Yesterday, that yellow card.
Like a 3-word tweet about Fernandes earlier when he got suspended. You fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Because that's what he is.
But that perfectly sums it up. He is a brain dead fucking idiot at times, and he's 29 years of age. He's not a young, naive kid captain of Man United now. He's an experienced Portuguese international. He's been around a long time now, and all he does is cry around the field, piss and moan, and getting stupid bookings. You know, he's become a bit of a meme since that game at Anfield last year, and you know, he needs to just cop the fuck on now.
Yeah,
he just needs to cop the fuck on. But I would have no hassle dropping him now, because they're just offering nothing. There's no one there. There's no room for sentiment anymore. We just have to.
I would rather play Hannibal in the midfield, even if he's not fully fit or whatever. I'd rather play Hannibal in the midfield than Bruno Fernandes. And I like Bruno Fernandes, but he has generally fucking annoyed me since the end of last year. End of last season. Going out this year, he's been an absolute disgrace.
Yeah. This is what really pisses me off, Reece, is that Ten Hag's philosophy is supposed to be hard pressing from the front, running, energy. Hannibal might not be the most gifted footballer, but he ran his balls off in the couple of starts he got at the start of the season. And you're kind of like, right, that's where you got to start from. He's not the most talented footballer, but this is what we start with now. A guy who's absolutely running the stats off the field. He's pressing. He's got a bit of a bite about him. What happens 2 games in? He's dropped, and we don't see him at all now. It just does not make any sense, some of Ten Hag's decisions, and that's why he's not completely guilt-free in all this. Of course, we know there's massive problems at the club from the top down. It's septic, it's rotten. but he's got a lot of questions that need answering there
I
as well.
agree.
You can't drop players like Jadon Sancho for not applying themselves in training and whatever reason behind the Rafael Varane one now been dropped. But you can't be dropping these guys for not applying themselves or whatever it may be. And then you're looking at guys like Hannibal who are absolutely working their socks off, and then they're getting dropped for no reason. I don't know. It's just fucking crazy. There's just no. It just doesn't add up. It's like watching Alice in Wonderland at times. It's just fucking crazy. It really is crazy.
Yeah, I agree. Lads, I'll get your opinions on that in a minute, but just in general, like Keane saying Amad Diallo on the right discuss. I'm just going to say flat out, I like Amad Diallo, but he's like Facundo Palestri. He ain't starting in this team. And the annoying thing is, he isn't starting because he isn't good enough. He isn't starting because the manager clearly doesn't want to use him. And I don't see him actually going to use this guy. And I'll say it even further. I don't think Amad Diallo starts against Wigan either. Or even in the squad. I don't.
Like, you look at the games we're coming up, 1 or 2 injuries, and that puts Bruno back on the right wing again. And we were kind of half discussing that before the
manager's
pod actually started. Like, this goes back to the second half of last season where, let's say, the game against City, yeah, fair enough. Putting Malacia left back and Shaw centre back worked. It's not going to work every game. Yesterday proved Shaw centre back's not going to work every game. It all depends on how you want to set up against a certain team. It's kind of like the way people are taking onto Ange now for Spurs, trying to out-football City, playing the high line with the players that he had at his disposal against City was only going to end one way. So, if you're going to be just throwing any team out against any, if you're going to be trying any starting 11 out against any team, no tactics, no nothing, you're just asking for trouble there. Like, Ange, fair enough, he sticks to his guns. But if Ten Hag stuck to his guns and everything he did, the media would be all over it. So,
problem for that though is he's already
under fire.
No, it's something that Jonathan said in the group yesterday, and I've been saying it for quite well on a different podcast I do on a Monday, where Ten Hag is literally allowed the league to completely envelop him, whereas he's not allowed, or in any sense, he's not forced the league to adapt to him. Like, he's completely given up on his style and his philosophy. Like, the style of play he played at Ajax, the fact that he came out and said, I'm not going to play that style, mate, you've already pussied out in the league. You've already pussied out. You've already lost.
And I find it interesting because I still look back at some of the games from last season, kind of in a nostalgia way, because I'm there like, where have we gone wrong in the last 6 months, especially? But I look back at the way he was last season. Fair enough, the first game of the season against Brighton, he failed to adapt to the tactics there. But from Brentford onwards, he was saying, right, change the tactics up, move one player out of position to bring him here. Something simple, something that might make the other manager second guess himself. He's not doing that this season, and that's the only negative. Like, I would back Ten Hag to the hill, but like, it's frustrating just to see it, man.
I think he wants you to keep going. I think he wants you to keep going. Not that anyone's going to talk about that, but that's the sense of it. Trevor also said that he played Nathan in midfield as he barely says a word out of place. Nathan just barely speaks, but that's his own choice. Like, he's a good man with few words, but when he does speak, he's like, and he gets stuck in. He's like a fox in the box with no pace. But that's Nathan. But Nathan, I wanted to ask you as well, though, just on the sense of Amad Diallo, though. He is a talented player. Nobody's going to deny that. We have spent a fair bit of money on him, but he does not seem to get in at all. Do you think the manager actually rates him? Even if he's going to be like fully fit and available for the team, do you think he actually rates him, or do you think he's just in a position where you're just another number in the squad, mate? Wasting.
I think that's exactly it, Reece. I think it's just another number in the squad to Erik ten Hag, because we haven't seen anything from him since he's been there, really. And it is disappointing because there was such a hype around him when he joined. We spent a lot of money on him and he had such potential. And I don't know what's gone wrong. It might just be a case of they just don't get on. It might be a case of that Amad's just bored, that he's not applying himself. So Ten Hag's like, well, you're not going to play. And then, yeah, it's disappointing because there is such a high. I would like to see him do something. And I think you're right when you said about the Wigan game in the FA Cup. I don't think we'll see him at all in that squad as well. So it is disappointing. I would play that system that King's talking about, is play him on the right, because like Dara said, there's going to be a situation where we're going to be ended up playing Bruno on the wing again, We don't want that, but obviously Ten Hag's happy with doing that. But it doesn't help us cause in any way, shape, or form with the whole thing we were saying about playing players out, like putting good players on the bench that are in the right position, and then putting players on the field that are in the wrong position, and it just fucks everyone off. Everyone gets bored.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is a shame that it does seem that Diallo is just not in sync with Ten Hag, and that's why he's just not around for him.
Yeah. To be fair, Vicky, you've asked that like why ask Nathan anything that you don't want to get a possible positive answer? Because not everything's going to be positive, but everyone's also going to be realistic, and that's why I asked that question. But I think another thing as well, though, is obviously Alex is saying 4-4-2 is our formation. It hasn't been in well over a decade, but you play this United team in a 4-4-2, they still get exposed because none of them can play even the most basic and most reliable of football systems. Like they can't do it, and that's another problem. But obviously, when you talk about upcoming games, obviously we've got a big run coming up where 3 of our next upcoming games, obviously, talk about Bayern in just a few minutes. We got Liverpool, we got Villa coming up as well. Like, there's no confidence in this team whatsoever.
It's very
Find me a
difficult to have
fan
any
that
voice
says
of
it, but
positivity. Vicky's talking about positivity. It's very difficult to have any positivity going into these games. We've
and
got
there's nothing wrong
coming
with
up.
that.
But you want,
Like,
I
there's
suppose, having said
there's nothing
that,
wrong
though,
with
like,
finding positivity though. Like you know what
I
I mean?
can
I
see
don't
the
mean to cut you off,
positives
sir.
in it.
I suppose having said that,
Yeah.
though, if it wasn't for the piss poor result yesterday, I would have said, okay, we're playing Villa, but we're playing them at Old Trafford. Something might happen, something might not. But now after yesterday, you kind of have to say, oh, well, fuck this.
Would you take the risk though and actually just say, you know what, clearly our system doesn't work. We'll risk the fact of taking out a midfielder, but we'll actually put in another striker, even though a little bit hit and miss with those at the minute. Would you go for it a little bit more defensive and just play a 4-4-2? I mean, to be fair, I can see why Alex is suggesting it, but I don't know if this lot are capable to do both the defensive and attacking work consistently in that sort of system. It might look so basic and old school, but you need to actually be disciplined to play in a certain style, and I don't think this lot can.
No.
Jonathan, what do you think?
Yeah, they're not disciplined enough to play the formation that they're playing at the minute. We saw how badly exposed our fullbacks were against Newcastle with the lack of the wingers tracking back. And in a 4-4-2 system, particularly when Man United used to play under Ferguson with the 4-4-2, it relied heavily on workhorse wingers. I mean, look at Antonio Valencia for years. Ashley Young was the same, to be fair. They were absolute machines up and down the left and right. Nani was the only one that never really worked back, but he was a bit of an enigma. Like, he'd do a 9 out of 10 one game, and then you wouldn't see him for 9 more matches. Like, he was just scored wonder goals. But, I mean, I just don't see a 4-4-2 working with this group of players. Something has to change, though. I said it in the group as well yesterday, and you saw it, Reese, about doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. We have been looking and talking about this since the game against Wolves on the opening night. We knew something was drastically wrong when Wolves had something like 24, 25 attempts. They absolutely carved us open. They should have had a penalty at the end. They should have got at least a point in that game. But nothing has changed since that game. Nothing has been done to rectify those glaring issues in the middle of the park. I mean, if you're going to do anything, just be hard to beat. We are literally fucking nothing at the minute. We're not hard to beat. We're not goal savvy. We're outscoring teams by 5 goals to 4. We are literally nothing. We don't score goals and we don't stop teams scoring against us. I mean, just looking at that match yesterday, I still can't believe it. Bournemouth could have beaten us by 5 or 6 goals yesterday.
Oh, easily.
Like fucking Bournemouth. Like, with all due respect, they're a team of a lot of respect for, and they punch heavily above their weight, and they have done for the last few years. But it's fucking Bournemouth coming to Old Trafford and nearly beating Manchester United 5 and 6-0. It is absolutely unacceptable. And like I said, I understand the great issues at the club with the structure, with the Glazers, and all the shit that's gone off the field. But if that group of players that went out yesterday are bad enough that they could potentially lose 5 or 6-0 to Bournemouth at home, then their contract should just be fucking torn up, because that team yesterday was more than good enough to beat Bournemouth. They couldn't even score a fucking goal against them. It's absolutely, it's just disgraceful at this point. And I think I've mentioned on the pod before, a lot of these players are hiding behind the excuse of the Glazers there. They're like, oh, well, if we don't win this, the fans will blame the Glazers. We blame the Glazers, but we're actually starting to see more and more through these fucking players now. They're an absolute disgrace.
Oh yeah.
It's hard to empathise with any of them. I mean, I don't know. I know a few people went over to the game yesterday, like, because obviously it was the game you would expect a few goals, you would expect a win, coming up to Christmas, nice festive cheer, and they were treated to that. I mean, it's just disgusting at this point, and you're kind of like, just when you think it's not going to stoop any lower, they just find another way to disappoint you. I mean, they're still breaking records. 10 years after Ferguson has left, we're still finding ways of coming up with new records to break in terms of disappointment. It's just, it's beyond belief at this point.
You'd think that breaking positive records would be the aspiration and going on to do more, like positive success and shit. Instead, we've gone backwards. Like, what's a negative? Like, oh, wait, worst start since 1960 odds. Yeah, sure, we'll break that this year, no problem. Worst start since 1973. We'll do that, no problem. We'll do all that, like, no problem at all. But that situation of it, like, yeah, and Alex, like, you're not wrong here with this. But again, as we've correctly alluded to, it was hardworking players. It was a manager who had a structured system, and it wasn't always a 4-4-2. It was a 4-4-2 where either the left-sided winger or the right-sided winger would play further advanced because they would become a third attacker, and the other one would tuck in. One of the greatest Sir Alex Ferguson teams, the 07-08 team, for example, that won the League and European Cup double. Ronaldo tucked in a lot, like coming forward as an advanced player, but it was either Nani or Ryan Giggs who would come in a central position. Like, you had that like difference of a team, and you're right, it's not a 4-2-3-1. I don't even know what this fucking team is. But again, I wouldn't mind like scrapping this team from top to bottom and, well, finding a firing squad. I'd be all right with that. Each game you go into to win, not this lot, it's worth remembering that the players lack discipline and common sense. We need a more elastic squad in terms of adaptability. That's fair. And then Hella says a 4-3-3, a fluid front three. I never wanted a striker.
Okay. Interesting.
I mean, from a perspective, I did. But I wanted a striker that was actually going to do the job in both Europe and the league. Again, we've got a hitman in the European competitions, but then we've got James Bond with no license to kill in the Premier League. Like, that is Højlund in a nutshell. And I'm sorry, I like Højlund, but like, he is literally a walking James Bond right now without the license to kill, and that's how it's going to be. But just talking about, we'll just forget the other games because that got nothing to do with us. We are just going to talk about Bayern. Where are you at for this? Because I can already tell you my score prediction, and I think everybody will probably agree with me. But yes, they did lose 5-1 to Frankfurt, but Bayern always has one of these results every single season. So I would completely disregard that 5-1. That 5-1 means fuck all. Bayern have a heavy defeat every single domestic campaign. Do they actually? Yeah, they do. They get pumped like 4-5-0 of Wolfsburg nearly every single season. So
okay, I didn't even know that.
I watched the Bundesliga, man. So I know it's coming. So like, it's a certain particular team, whether it be a Wolfsburg or a Frankfurt or even a Stuttgart, where Bayern will have one of those results and they still get absolutely smashed. But then the following game they go win 4-5-6-7-0. They'll be like, well, this is it. So Bayern literally will. And they always do it right before the start of the Christmas break as well. They always get that defeat then. So this is a Bayern situation. And just watch them come Tuesday. It'll be like, okay, that's not the team that we expected. But you look at the team they have got. They've got a lot of weapons in that squad. Obviously, one of them is Harry Kane, who was a nightmare against us as well in the first game. So where are you at with this game, and do you think Man United have got any chance against Bayern? Because I'm going to say right now, we've got no chance. Jonathan, what do you think?
My gut would tell me that we just have no chance, but then I look at the Chelsea game and their ability just to come up with this result. They'll absolutely be delighted with themselves, patting each other on the back, and then go to Anfield and get pumped like 8-0. It's that kind of trend at the minute with them. I'm just hoping that Bayern feel sorry for us because they're already qualified as group winners and send over a bit of a mishmash of a team. But like you were saying there, with that 5-1 hammer, now they're going to want to come out and prove a point because they don't often lose consecutive games. Exactly. So yeah, I can see a scenario where we lose like 3-4-5-0 at home, but I could also equally see a scenario where these guys find their inner brave heart and come out with Mel Gibson war paint on them and come up with a result and win 2-1, and they think they're absolutely brilliant because they end up qualifying for Thursday night football in the new year. It's brilliant, but I would fear the worst though. Like if we set up the way we did against Bournemouth, we are going to get our arses handed to us. He's going to have to change something. If that midfield starts again tomorrow with Amrabat, McTominay, and Bruno Fernandes, we're in for a world. Or Tuesday night, we're in for a world of hurt because it's just not working. We've got to, as I keep saying, we've got to try something different now. We've got nothing to lose. The likes of looking at Manu and saying he's too inexperienced.
For the record,
Freedom!
for the record, by the way, as a Scotsman, I actually hate this movie.
Oh, really?
But that's for different reasons. I hate that movie. I'll tell you another time why I hate Braveheart. But to be fair, Titanic's worse. But carry on, dude.
Yeah, no, like I was saying, like we've got nothing to lose at this point now. We can't look at players like Manu and stuff and say he's too inexperienced. The experienced guys aren't doing it at the minute. We've got to change something. Like we've just got to roll the dice now and try something different. Whether it's a 4-4-2, 4-3-3, whether it's a 5-3-2, whatever it may be, we've just got to try something different. And if Dallo starts again on Tuesday night, I am going to rip my fucking hair out at this point because I don't know what he's doing or what dirt he has on Ten Hag that he's starting so many games in a row, but he's piss poor. He is absolutely piss poor. Like there's got to be a kid in our reserves or the academy that can play right back that is better than him. Seriously, it's just pointless looking at these players at this point now. We've just got to fucking try something different, something that the fans can get behind. That there's a little bit of progress, that he's looking at something, he's tweaking something, because we can't just keep looking at this nothingness. The same lineups, the same formation, the same outcome, because it's absolutely just so draining, so disheartening at this point now. But yeah, look, I mean, you would still have to fear the worst for Tuesday.
Yeah, the mad thing is,
sorry, Johnson, I'll actually take you on that point. We did have a right back in the reserves. We sold him. His name is Mark Jurado.
Yeah, let's not remind me of Mark Jurado because that one hurt.
Yeah,
just like sending Alvaro Fernandez out as
well. Oh man,
delusional.
I was at that game in Dublin and he lit it up on the left back. I was just there like, why get rid of him?
Only
that
Shane
would kill
Long,
me. Like
only Shane Long. That's the only one.
Oh no, go away with the Shane Long.
He's just shite. He's just shite. No, the only reason I hate Braveheart, Trev, is just because it's an absolute disgrace on Scottish history. That's all, because it's completely wrong. It's just wrong all over. So that's why I hate it. It's a crap film for that very reason. I love Ireland, just not Shane Long.
Or Damien Duff.
I've got nothing against Damien Duff. I'm not like Julio. I don't know what Julio's got the agenda against Damien Duff for. It makes no sense. But hey ho, I mean, Damien Duff's won enough, but I don't know what Julio's done in his life. Doesn't compare to Damien Duff winning 2 Premier Leagues. Shove that one up, you mate. Shove that one. Nathan yourself, like just before I get in trouble. Nathan yourself just. Nathan yourself just talking about like the Bayern game and all that. Like, if there's anything you'd want to see change, I mean, planting a sniper like across every single one of our players is enough to motivate them. But like anything particularly you'd want to see change, like for the Bayern game, what would you consider? I'm so going to hell.
I'd like to see, I would love to see a massive change in the starting 11. Like I've said it before, just get a shitload of youngsters in there and just give them a try, because there's no point if we lose this game on Tuesday. We're out of the Champions League, is what it is. But at least if you chuck a load of youngsters out there, they might actually show some respect. And go on, what's he got?
I mean, this is a good comment, but Julio, I mean, I don't need to drink energy drink. I've got enough energy in it already. I don't need a Red Bull. I don't need a Rockstar. You, on the other hand, need a personality. Just kidding. Just kidding, mate. Just kidding. Carry on. Nathan, carry on.
Yeah, I was just saying that it would just be nice to see a load of youngsters out there with a bit of personality and a bit about them, just to prove something. Because yeah, I don't know. I'm a bit more optimistic and looking forward to the game on Tuesday than I was expecting to be. But
Why is that?
will I don't know, to be honest. I just think, like Jonathan just said, hopefully because they've already qualified, they might send a bit of a mismatched team out, and then our players might think, "Oh, fucking hell, they're not taking this game seriously. Let's do something about it." And then, yeah, what do? We end up qualifying for Europa in the end. But there we go. What do we need to get? What do the results need to do for us to qualify, though?
For us to qualify for Champions League, we have to beat Bayern
And the
and
draw,
they
isn't
have
it,
to
in the
draw.
other
and
game?
draw the other game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That ain't gonna happen.
No.
Galatasaray is going to turn up and just absolutely ruin them. Sorry, Copenhagen. I think they will. I think
I'm
Galatasaray will
optimistic,
just
but
ruin
we'll
them.
see. Optimistic, but we'll see.
Hulu, your comments are so good, mate, that even I forgot to clap you. Just shows that you ain't making me laugh, mate. One thing I do want to ask, though, is obviously you look at our defence and have a good one as well, Vicky. Have a good one yourself. When you look at our defence, it's so mixed. It's so mismatch. It's not consistent. Injuries are consistently coming thick and fast. That's another question about our medical staff that needs to be asked: is what the hell's going on with that lot? Why they're in a job if we're having so many injuries? And also, no matter who we play in defence, they've always got a mistake in them. Now, when you look at the Bayern team, they've got Jamal Musiala is one of the best attacking midfielders in the world for his age, let alone just as a talent. He's one of the best in the world. You've got Leroy Sané, who's one of Bayern's best wingers. Kingsley Coman or Serge Gnabry, whoever plays on that right-hand side, have got goals in them. Harry Kane has got goals in him. Even Choupo-Moting off the bench has goals in him. Kimmich has got great cover for midfield, and he's a brilliant playmaker. You've also got the likes of Konrad Leimer, who's an absolute energy machine. Goretzka as well will get goals. He'll work hard.
Of course.
Alphonso Davies is another one. Quality player. Their two centre-backs at times can be quite inconsistent, but that's normal. They don't particularly play much with a right-back because they're never that good. But then their weakness is they don't mainly have a number one goalkeeper. Sven Ulreich isn't their main number one, but he is reliable for them. But when you look at their team in general compared to ours, again, the amount of weapons they've got, do you think our defence is actually capable of even stopping Bayern for at least 20 minutes? Because that's another problem with this team, is it's always like that first 20 minutes is always key for a big game. But when you look at our defence, it's so shaky. And even the midfield don't help them enough. They don't do them justice either. But when you look at our defence and it's so mismatched, none of them seem switched on. What do you expect from our defence and even the first 20-25 minutes against Bayern as well? Because I think that's the key. Either one is up to you guys. Jump in.
I suppose looking at who I'd rather have in the defence lineup come Tuesday, you're gonna have to change something. You're gonna have to put Shaw back at left back because, okay, depending on the game, depending on the tactics set up, he can play centre back, but you can't just be throwing him in just because for the sake of it. Now, I have this belief, and I want to keep believing it, that the only reason he's not playing Varane as much is because he's waiting for Martinez to come back. I hope against hope I'm correct. I'm probably wrong, but that's what my heart of hearts wants to believe. Having said that, you have to get over that little hump, and you have to play him against Bayern. You just have to. I don't care if you're trying to decide who plays left centre back, who plays right centre back. Put Maguire and Varane in that centre back pairing because they're the only two capable of doing it right now. Shaw at left back, and just for the way, I'm not even going to defend Dallo because what I have my rose tinted glasses on about him all these years. The last couple of performances have been shocking, so you have to bring Wan-Bissaka back in. That midfield, screw it. I was kind of listening to what Jonathan was saying there earlier about, you can't be using the excuse that Man U's not in or not experienced enough anymore. You throw him in with Hammerbat, and I'm sticking with Hammerbat because I remember seeing it somewhere only today, this morning, that the closest thing that you're going to get to last year's Casimir and Eriksson right now with the current choices we have is Amrabat and Manu in that double pivot. Now, it's never going to be the same, but you gotta have to try something, like something better.
He's just as shit, by the way. I just want to say he's just as shit. Wan-Bissaka and Dalot, like I said it in the summer, and I got like comments for it over like social media, and I was like, we should have signed the right back in the summer because ours aren't good enough. I don't trust them. And I just said that after Wan-Bissaka was in good form, and I was like, I still don't trust them. Still don't trust them. We need to sign a right back, and I was told, nah, we don't need one. Funny that, eh? Well, we clearly need a right back.
Now, Reese, would you have sold both of them and brought in 2 right backs?
Oh,
or
yeah.
Would you have sold?
Oh yeah. Fuck the pair of them. I would have got rid of them both.
Fair enough. I would have said keep one and get another one and kind of do a rotation, but each their own.
I would have got rid of them both because I just don't trust them enough. I don't think Wan-Bissaka is good enough going forward, and Dalot can't defend. You put them both together, and you still have a shit right back. Like you still have nothing to offer. Now I'll give Dalot some flowers. He did a brilliant cross for Garnacho not too long ago, but that's the only good thing he's done at Man United since he's came to the club. Apart from winning a penalty against fucking PSG 5 years ago, he's done nothing else significantly. So I still would have got new right backs. I would have got new left backs as well, all across the board. The whole defence we need isn't good enough if you want to play out from the back. I don't particularly trust our defence to do it. But when you look at the consistency of our squad, how we're getting so many injuries is another thing that question, because are they even working hard in training for fitness or in general?
It doesn't come across that way.
Yeah. I just got no clue. But when I look at the squad, like there's so many players I would have kicked out in the summer. I've been like, well, here's your notice, like, or whatever. Like, I don't care. Like, even if we're not going to sell you, we're just going to pay off your contract and tell you to fuck off. That's where my mind is at. But when you look at, we'll do it then. How would you guys line up and what's your score predictions for Bayern? Because, well, let's be said, there's some good ones in the chat. I'll bring yours up in a minute, Keen, and Hell, I'll bring yours up in a second. But Jonathan, how would you forget what the manager's going to do? Because the manager's nuts. How would you line up against Bayern, and what's your score prediction?
I'd probably go with 5 at the back, to be honest with you.
Agreed.
I would play, obviously, Onana in goal. As much as I'd like to see Bayern there get a chance, just to throw him in there, see something different. We all know it's going to be Onana. I would have Wan-Bissaka as a right wing back. I would have Reguilon as the other left wing back. I would have then Luke Shaw left centre back, Harry Maguire centre back, and then Rafa Varane as right centre back. Bring him in there. Just try something different with the midfield. I'd have Manu and Amrabat.
Matrix has got him again.
The fact that he suggested a respectably smart system and YouTube hates him for it, I think that's atrocious.
I was just going to say, that 5 at the back actually.
He's
really
back.
good.
There we go. Carry on.
Back
Phil.
up again.
Just let you go. Yep, you're good. So you were at back 5. So the last thing you said was Varane at right centre back.
Okay, right. No bother. I'd have then centre midfield, Manu, Amrabat, as we just discussed. I'd probably go Hannibal just ahead of them because fuck it. And then I would have Højlund up top with Garnacho. Just to completely throw a fucking monster in there. Just something completely different. I just don't think Bayern would be expecting something like that. They're going to be expecting the old reliables of Bruno Fernandes, Rashford, maybe Martial, whatever. Yeah. Just throw an absolute fucking firework in there and just be right, how are we going to deal with this now? You know, just try something different.
Thrown them off guard in the nicest way. And what's your score prediction? What do you reckon?
Funnily enough, I just think 2-1 United for some reason. I'm just feeling 2-1 United.
Fair. Nathan?
I actually quite like that system that Jonathan's just said there. I actually quite like that. I'm going to stick up for McTominay because he had a blinder in the middle of the week. I know everyone in the chat has been absolutely slating him, but even in the preview to the Chelsea game, we were all saying he can't be playing. And then he goes and scores 2 goals. So I'm
Yeah.
I'm still right behind McTominay. So I'm going to stick McTominay in the middle there. But I'm going to go with what Jonathan just said actually. But again, I would love to see that Turkish goalkeeper just to get some minutes in him just before the Africa Cup of Nations comes along, because it's going to be really hard to watch when he does come in January with the Africa Cup of Nations being on. It's going to be an absolute nightmare. So yeah, I would like to see him get some minutes, but we all know he's going to play the system he wants to play. But I would chuck McTominay in there but yeah, what Jonathan said really. I'm going to go with a 1-0 win for us. I think we'll nick it. I think we might be able to keep him back with that 5 at the back. And if we can nick it, I'll be happy with that. But it just has to come down to other results elsewhere. And that's what puts
that's reasonable. I quite like the sound of that. So you've gone 1-0. Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
Before I come to you, Darren, I'm just going to bring up a few. So,
of course, yeah.
So Billy, for example, says Onana, Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Varane, Shaw, back 4. Amrabat, Mainu in the pivot. Fernandes in the 10 role. Garnacho, Anthony, Rashford. Okay, we've already lost with that front three, bar from one, because Garnacho's the only good attacker in that front three. My issue is if McTominay starts, then Bruno doesn't. We need another player to hold and play out, hence me picking Mainu. Yeah, that's very fair. I'd happily have McTominay start over Bruno. Yeah, to be fair, so would I. Where's the other ones? Hella says I play Shaw left back with Rashford left wing back. I'm not giving them these fucking nicknames. I know you guys can, but I don't. Like, that's the reason why they all suck. Bruno and Anthony, bench Dallo for Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Maguire, Mainu, Meshbury, McTominay. Okay, fair. I know Keane said he had 10 players. He's missing out Garnacho, but he also said Onana, Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Maguire, Shaw, Amrabat, Mainu, Fernandes, Anthony, Højlund, Garnacho. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Dara, what have you got?
It's going to sound very plain and simple, but I actually kind of agree with Keane's team. The only change I'd make, maybe. Now, we all know Anthony has been coming along, to be fair. I don't know, is with the mentality and everything, like, we know he's a bit of a hothead, so especially with the hostile environment, it might be, given the nature of how the tension would build, given the circumstances, would playing him be the smartest move where he could easily get frustrated there. So the only change I'd make to Keane's team, because it'd be my own team, is Facu Pelestri. And no, realistically, he's not going to play. He's going to put Anthony ahead of Pelestri. But in reality, that probably would be my team, except switch out Pelestri for Anthony. Other than that, very much the same team.
And prediction?
I see goals. Like, you look at all our games, bar the Copenhagen game, and there's been goals everywhere.
Yeah.
So I should point out the Copenhagen at Old Trafford. I'm going to say 3-2, and I'm hoping it's for United, but it's the 3-2 that could go either way. I'll say 3-2 to United, but I'm not going to be surprised if it's 3-2 to Bayern either.
That's fair. That's fair. So we got a 2-1 by Jonathan, a 1-0 by Nathan, and a 3-2 down here. So I'm going to go a little bit chaotic. So Onana, this is where you see a little bit of me, a little bit of classic me. So Onana and goal. Absolutely. Just wait for this. So Onana and goal. Varane, Maguire, Luke Shaw. Pelestri, Reguilon. McTominay, Amrabat, Anthony, Højlund, Garnacho.
Okay.
1-0 Man United. Pelestri assist for Højlund.
But Pelestri, sorry, no, I'm trying to figure the system. Are you playing at right wing back?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
I
live and breathe chaos. Live and breathe.
That is never. I like it, but that is never going to happen. And we all know it. We can all live in that world that you're living in, but we all know full well that is never going to happen.
You can tell Reece plays a football manager that he just messes around with the tactics.
Can neither confirm nor deny. But I like a little bit of mad predicting. I also like just thinking outside the box, because our manager doesn't do that. So that's something that came to mind. So, Reece, whatever you've been drinking, can I have some, please? Well, it's quite simple. Been drinking these.
Who's
they're finished. I'm brewing Pepsi.
Oh, Julia.
Let's see. What was Bill saying? Thing is, Reece, it's never going to happen. More chance of Dan James starting for us. Dan James can't play football professionally, let alone as an amateur. He's crap. Get over it. Worst Man United signing I've ever seen. Literally the worst. But on that, it has been a fun show, gents. Thanks to all that's watching. As you can see across the bottom of the stream, the Manchester Mind charity as well. That's been going across all night. So we've left it to the very end to speak about it. This is a mental health charity. I'll let Jonathan talk about that briefly before we go, actually. I think Jonathan is the best situation to go on that one. So on you go.
Yeah, look, it's just a great cause. It's a voluntary mental health charity based in Manchester in particular, but they do have organisations throughout the UK as well. So, look, it's for people if you're struggling, especially this time of year. It's very, very tough for people with money and the pressures that come with Christmas, and it's dark weather. The weather is bleak. I mean, you want to see it in Ireland tonight. It's just fucking wind and rain all night, and it gets in on people. So, look, I mean, it's a great cause. We're delighted to be partnered up with Manchester Mind, and like what Reece was saying there, the number and is going across the ticker there below. If you want to reach out to anyone at the channel, please do leave a comment, contact the page. We can give you more information on how we can reach out to Manchester Mind, or like was mentioned on the previous show by Stu. If anyone wants to chat to anybody on the show, any of the contributors or hosts, we're always here to chat, because lads, you just have to talk, check it on your friends, especially this time of year. As we're saying, it's a tough time for everyone. So look, I mean, yeah, it's a great cause. If people can donate, like, please do.
Yeah, absolutely. Elderly as well. Big periods of time for the elderly.
Yeah.
Since you've asked, Julio, I'll just answer this question, and I've got the perfect answer for you. So who do I love most, Dan James or Lukaku? I can give you the answer if you want, and that answer is quite simple. David
Neither.
Beckham. And on that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to tonight's stream. We are going to get out of here. Our socials are all across, obviously. Dara Tricolour Reds, he's multicoloured man. Nate Dell's down here. That's your socials, mate. Anybody. And Jonathan, obviously, Snooker America, but he doesn't hit them like in the pot first time. It's like second or third shot. That's how it goes. And then me, obviously, the Weekly Steel Chair. So thanks all for watching, and we will bid you good night.